Game Week 16 watch list, here we go. So the first player in this video is Cristiano Ronaldo. So Ronaldo has managed to get himself a respectable tally of 2 goals and 1 assist in his last 5 matches, which is pretty decent considering Man United have not played that well. But to be fair, they have won their last 2 matches, but obviously Solskjaer's gone now, you expect an improvement under the new manager. But the main reason why you should bring in Ronaldo is because of his fixtures. So in his next several games, he plays Norwich, Brentford, Brighton, Newcastle, Burnley. Like, those games there, they're games where Man United are expected to pick up points in. Norwich, one of the weaker teams in the league. Same with Brentford. Brighton, they are a decent team, but they don't score too many goals. Newcastle, they're not a great side. Burnley, they're in and around the relegation zone. These are the games where Man United have got to pick up points in if they want to have any chance of staying in the top 4. And as they are through in the Champions League, I don't expect Ronaldo to play in the Champions League midweek, which means he will be fresh for the weekend's matches. But the only problem with him is his price tag, 12.3 million. Quite a lot of money, but let's say you want to get rid of Kane or Vardy now, you can go to this man. And also, he's only owned by 28%. So it's not little, it's not a little amount, but for Ronaldo and like the status of player he is, it's not a load. And considering he's got a load of green fixtures coming up, 4 green fixtures in his next 5 matches, I think you should maybe think about bringing them into your team. But if you don't want to because of his price tag, you could wait out because Rangnick played him against Palace, but you may not want to play him in the future. You may think, well, he's not the right fit for this Man United team. I may put him on the bench against Norwich, but I do expect him to start. He is Ronaldo, he is a big player, and obviously he can win games with their goals. So yeah, have a look at Ronaldo and possibly bring him into your team. So the next 2 players, I'm going to put them together as one and then compare them and probably say which one's the best player to choose out of the 2. So those 2 players are Josh King and Emmanuel Dennis. So both of them play for Watford. Emmanuel Dennis comes in at 5.6 million, Josh King comes in at 5.7. So Josh King comes in at £0.1 million more. But obviously you may think, well, let's choose Dennis. He's the better player, but hold your horses. Basically, Emmanuel Dennis, yes, he's been in better form recently. He's got 3 goals and 2 assists in his last 5 matches, whereas Josh King's got 2 goals in his last 5 matches. So obviously Dennis has got an extra goal and an extra 2 assists. But Josh King's on penalties, and Watford are bound to probably get a penalty soon. I don't know how many penalties they had, but they're probably bound to get one at some point. So Josh King's on penalties. Also, he's a lot lower owned. He's only owned by 6% of the game, compared to Emmanuel Dennis, who's owned by 23.9%. So let's say Josh King gets a big haul, it would do pretty good for your rank in your mini leagues if you have him in your team. But on the other hand, you could say, well, if Dennis gets a haul and I don't have him, a lot of people in my mini league will probably have him. So you could look at that both ways. But also, this is I don't know how prominent of a factor this is, but Dennis could be going to the African Cup of Nations soon, so you may think, well, if I bring Dennis in, we'll have to get him out in a few weeks when he goes to play for Nigeria in the African Cup of Nations. Whereas Josh King, you can probably keep in your team for a while and just let him tick over. But there was reports saying that Dennis will not play in the African Cup of Nations tournament for Nigeria, so it may not be as bad bringing him in. So yeah, Dennis is probably in better form, but Josh King's on penalties, also he's lower owned. But they both play week in, week out for Watford. They're both brilliant players, and they both got a brilliant set of fixtures. That's why I'm talking about them mostly, because in their next 3 games, they play Brentford, Burnley and Palace. So those 3 matches there are winnable for Watford. If they want to try and get out the relegation spots, well, I think they are. But if they want to survive this season in the Premier League, they've got to win matches like these. Brentford, Burnley, they're in and around the same positions as Watford in the table. Palace, they're a bit above, but they're all in that area. And then you may think, well, do I get rid of them after that? No. They play Wolves, West Ham and Spurs. Quite tough fixtures. You could play them maybe in 1 or 2 of those matches and maybe leave them on the bench. But after that, they play Newcastle and Norwich. So literally, in their next 8 matches, they have 5 green fixtures. So really, you could bring either of them in. I would probably go with King, only because there's nothing to worry about him going off the African Cup of Nations. Like, Dennis might not, but there's nothing to worry about with King. Also, he's on penalties. And also, I like how he's a differential, because in my team nowadays, I've got the likes of Salah, Jota, Rafinha, Son, Gallagher. I've got Reece James. I've got all these players who are so highly owned. I kind of want a player like King, who's a differential option, that if he picks up a big haul, it will do great for me in my mini league and maybe even my overall rank. So yeah, take what you can from that. Choose Dennis or King. They're both great options, but in my opinion, I would go with Josh King because of the reasons I just said. So the final player of this video is the West Ham midfielder / forward, Jarrod Bowen. So he's a midfielder on the game, but he does play in quite an advanced position for West Ham, and he is a brilliant player. In his last 5 matches, he's managed to get himself 3 assists and a goal, so it's not amazing, but he got that goal against Chelsea, brilliant finish, and also he's a constant threat. He runs all match, and David Moyes likes to play him, because in his last several matches, he plays 90 minutes pretty much throughout all of them. Yes, in some he may only have 83 or 70, or come on for a little cameo, but the majority of the time he starts. So he's in brilliant form. Well, not brilliant, but he's in pretty brilliant form. He's going to play regular minutes. Also, he only comes in at 6.4 million, so he's quite cheap. So he's a budget enabler. Maybe if you want to bring in that Ronaldo or something, you can downgrade one of your midfielders to Jared Bowen. Also, he's only in by 4.1%, so he's super duper differential. So if you hop on him now, it could look pretty great for you in the coming weeks. And let me tell you, West Ham have some of the best fixtures in the whole of the Premier League at the moment. They're absolutely brilliant on paper. They play Burnley this weekend, then they play Arsenal, Norwich, Southampton, Watford, Palace, Leeds. So from game week 16 now to game week 22, they have an astonishing 5 green fixtures, 1 grey and 1 red. So I think you should probably hop on Jared Bowen. He's in decent form. He's cheap as chips. He's lowly owned. He's got a brilliant set of fixtures. Also, West Ham are a quality team. They've beaten Chelsea and Liverpool this season. They're not a pushover. I expect him to start more. The manager seems to like him. And yeah, he looks like a pretty decent asset to have in for the next several game weeks. And maybe even so on and so forth. Because even after that, when West Ham's fixtures get tricky, you know they're a decent side. You know that Bowen's going to start regularly. So you could probably keep him in for the foreseeable future. And maybe take out any players in your team who you feel are not performing very well. Like maybe you think Son. Yeah, Son's a decent player. He's done quite well recently, but his fixtures start to get a bit tricky from here on in. They've got Brighton, Leicester, Liverpool in the next 3. So you may think, well, do I bring out Son and maybe get Bowen in and then maybe upgrade a striker to Ronaldo because I had the extra money? So yeah, Bowen's a brilliant player. He's a budget enabler, and maybe you should look at bringing him into your team. Maybe this week, or maybe even next week and the week after that, because he's got a great set of fixtures for like the next 7-8 game weeks and so on and so forth. So that's the end of the video right there, guys. That is all the players: Dennis, King, Bowen, and obviously Ronaldo. I'm probably looking at bringing in 2 of them, but I'll save that for the team selection video. Not going to go into that now, but yeah, they're all brilliant options. And if you have any questions, put them in the comment section. And if you have enjoyed this video, hit the like button and the subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one.